when suddenly you look out there and you see eyes. Spiritually speaking, you see that the world is not just an object, but it looks at you. It talks to you, it relates to you, and you experience that sensation of connection, of being looked at. In this whole conflict between Saruman and the Ents, we see the juxtaposition, like the fight between the machine and the power of drawing. What he calls the magic of Ents, which is not magic at all, actually. It's like art, it's sub-creation. And the way he compares, actually, the way he opposes the two is really curious to me. Is because he says, like, for example, elvish robes, they look really magical because they have all these qualities, incredible qualities. And yet, he says, the way that they were made is entirely different from the way that the orcs or Saruman would make something and then call it technology. Because an elf, actually Pippin is the one who asks one of the elvish leaders, one of the elves, as they walk, it's like, are these cloaks magical? And this guy says, I don't know what you mean. All we do is we put the thought of everything we love into everything we do. So an elf would first and foremost listen to the music of Iluvatar in everything around him. And then he would pick up his chisel and start carving a boat. And when he is in that zone, in that music, totally aligned with it, what comes out of it, like the work of his hands, will be magical. And that's what we see. We see it in the lembas bread, super light boats, in fials, in the buildings, and even in the swords, because Frodo's sword was elvish, the sting, and it would have this magical capacity to glow when it works near, and things like that. So it's not magic. There was no button to push, but it would be like something inherent in the elves, I guess.
Yeah, being in alignment with the music. I think we've all experienced that.
As far as I understand, he believes it's the only antidote to the machine. In Tolkien's mind, when we engage in sub-creation, basically when we sit down and attune to the music of Iluvatar, we overcome the machine inside. Because I have a great temptation to use the machine. But then if I, in a final analysis, if I ask myself, why? I'll have to say, because I want this and that. It's my will be done. So the machine is like anti-prayer, because prayer is thy will be done. And here it is anti-prayer. Whereas art and sub-creation, basically, nobody can create any art unless they first attune to the source of beauty. And then they will want to capture it and express it in what they do. Whether it's an artist, whether it's a teacher crafting a lesson, whether it's a translator or a writer, you can't really create anything worthy unless you first immerse yourself in this prayerful mode, so to say. In this, can I hear the beauty out there? Can I see it? Can I catch that fire? And then I'll be able to express it. It will come through me as a piece of art, for instance. And if we go against the music and lose this inner harmony, it doesn't want to comply. There's something that gets distorted there. And it will lie dormant up to a point, and then it will erupt in some volcano. And that's, it's not even like a punishment, but it's basically just like the natural consequence of the cacophony that we create, often. What is interesting is that every time we decide to attune ourselves to the music of the spheres, the music of God, we have to die to ourselves. Because our will has to die. If I still elevate my will I will not be able to create anything worthwhile. And so there's this necessary process of being crucified with Christ that is inherent in art and in subcreation. And it's just, when I think about efficiency, the machine allows me to get things done quickly and without suffering and without dying. And the temptation sometimes is so great, but I realize if I want to see beauty and art, this dying is part of the process. Such a part and parcel of the whole thing. And it's actually in this process, in the dying, that the birth happens, of the new thing. It's something that I don't hear a lot of talk about that, but it's an element that's so present in the Gospels, of course, being crucified with Christ and allowing Him to live through you. And no art is possible unless we experience that, daily.
Yeah.
That sound, that word that created the worlds, then that gives you the inspiration and the inner fire, to create something magical in this world, alive. And that's what the elves were doing for the most part. Most of them were in tune with the music of Iluvatar, and that's why they created all of the things that they created. Like Galadriel created this realm of Lothlorien, with everything there, that seemed magical, but it was actually like the overflow of that sub-creation. And everybody is really a sub-creator just by birthright. But then you really catch the difference. And sometimes you see a teacher who's really is just delivering their subject. They're not in the zone. They're not passing the fire that they caught. They're just, regurgitating some textbook. Whereas and other times you see somebody else, like a teacher, who, from the first sentence or like first paragraph that they say, you realize that they are on fire, and you almost see the dance of the fairies in their eyes, or see it in the talk that they give. Because I've been following a couple of philosophers just recently like that, and it's just amazing how this sub-creation is really, something that we all can do. I can't imagine any industry or human sphere of human activity where it's not available.
Yeah,